Joining us now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline via Zoom is the Draft Network's Jordan Reid in Winston-Salem, North Carolina this morning. Jordan, great to have you on BYU Sports Nation.
Spencer, Jason, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for having me on.
You, I'm sure, had your eyes very closely on the BYU-Houston game. So after that contest, what's your first thought about BYU's talent level as it pertains to playing in the NFL?
Well, I mean, I think it's very, very good in a sense, just because I think this is one of the better years for BYU's prospects. And everybody was kind of excited about the offensive line coming into this year, just because you have guys like Brady Christensen, James Empey, and plenty of other guys along that offensive front. But little be known, Zach Wilson comes out of nowhere. And now that's what all the nation is talking about, just because you see a guy like Earl come out of nowhere and have that miraculous season for LSU. And now what we as scouts are always wondering is that who's going to be that next quarterback to come out of nowhere and then surge up NFL boards. And I mean, here we are now. Zach Wilson is that guy for BYU.
You know, Jordan, we look at the roster and you can kind of make guesses. And we've talked, you know, there could be 5 players from this BYU roster this season that could be drafted. How many draftable players do you think BYU has on the roster right now?
I have 5 coming into the season. I had KHYIRIS, TONGA, Brady Christensen, James Empey, Zach Wilson, and unfortunately Matt Bushman before he suffered the Achilles injury. And I'm really hoping that he's able to get back on track if he does end up coming back next year or getting a redshirt year. Hopefully, we're wishing the best for him. But the highest rated coming into the year was Brady Christensen. There was a lot of people excited about him, the big offensive tackle who's having a great year so far this year. But now, I mean, I keep saying his name, Zach Wilson. He's the one that everybody is talking about right now. So this is one of the better years for BYU as far as draft prospects wise.
Okay, just to clarify, in 5 games, Zach Wilson, true or false, has become BYU's most draftable player.
Oh, without question. I mean, you guys have seen it. And just watching this film, I did an article about him. I posted it. It was last week before the game, prior to the game against Houston. And I want to do a deep dive just because, and I came away with a tale of 2 different players. And what I mean by a tale of 2 different players is that prior to watching this film, I wanted to do a little bit of research about Zach Wilson. And everybody knows about the Boise State story of how he was originally committed there. And then he ended up making the switch to BYU. And then he comes in 2018. He had a decent year for the most part. 2019, I thought he was very decent as well. But he has the shoulder injury, the torn labrum. And then he goes out and messes his thumb up against Toledo last year, just trying to make a tackle after the turnover. But he didn't look the same. He didn't look nearly as the same player as he does this year. But I think the biggest thing is that he's finally healthy. He looks finally healthy. The ball is coming out of his hand very cleanly. It's coming out of his hand very urgently as well. And he's very confident in the system, being in the same system now for 3 seasons as well. You just see a totally different player. And that's what I mean by a tale of 2 different prospects.
Staying with Zach, as of today, Jordan, where do you think Zach is most likely to be drafted if he decides to come out? And where do you rank him in terms of the other quarterbacks in college football right now?
I think he's squarely in that top 5 range as far as just the quarterback prospects. We know about Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, and Justin Fields. Those are considered the big 3. That 4th guy right now I would consider Kyle Trask, the quarterback from Florida, who's having a really good year this year as well. Zach Wilson is definitely, I think, would be placed in that 5th position right now, if I based on my evaluations and my honest opinion. But I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to get past that 5th spot, just because if he's able to stay on track, we know he has a very favorable schedule this year. I think BYU is going to roll to some more wins, and he's going to be able to accumulate some more stats as well. So I'm very interested to see how he does end up finishing this year. But everybody said that the big test game for him was against Houston. That really was one of the better defenses that he was going to play this year, and he went out and he absolutely crushed it.
Is he a first-round draft pick, do you think?
If he stays on this track, I firmly think he will be. It's just a matter of how he does finish this year. And, you know, similar to Joe Burrow last year, and I know the SEC is different from BYU as far as the competition and what they're playing week in and week out. And it's unfortunate to what happened with BYU with the schedule and, you know, the COVID impasse, just because they were going to play some really good teams prior to altering their schedule. And, you know, Zach can't really control who they had to put on the schedule. All he can do is just go out there and make plays, which is what he has been doing this year.
Jordan Reid of the Draft Network with us on BYU Sports Nation. You mentioned that you had Zach Wilson on your radar going into the season. Where was he when the season began compared to what you just told us, that he's maybe a first-round pick?
I had him as a day 3 guy. I had him down as a 6th round grade coming into the year, just because he had some limitations in some spots. And little did I know prior to doing background information about him is that he was playing hurt. I did not know he was playing hurt last season. And the first game that I watched was down the backstretch of last year, was against Utah and then also San Diego State. I thought he struggled a little bit in that Utah game. I thought that was one of his worst games of the year. But then you pop in the tape against San Diego State, and I thought he played really well in that game. And then the backstretch in the bowl game, he played really good as well. And then he's carried that momentum into this year. And like I said, he's just been absolutely phenomenal this year.
I think we were all surprised, Jordan, when KHYIRIS Tonga and Matt Bushman decided to come back for their senior years. Focusing specifically on KHYIRIS, what did coming back for another year do for his draft stock, do you think?
I think just showing people that he was a little bit more versatile. And what I mean by versatile is that he's pretty much known as that two-down run stuffer that's really strong at the point of attack. But I think he's much more athletic than given credit for. And he's been the anchor of this defense. And just go watch him against the Navy game. He was absolutely incredible in that game. He really stood out, and he showed everything that you needed to see from, I think, a late day 2 or early day 3 prospect as far as being an interior defensive lineman. It was unfortunate that he missed the game against Houston due to an undisclosed injury. I was looking forward to seeing him play in that game, but he's shown everything that he's needed to show this year. And I think I would like to see a little bit more from him consistently as a pass rusher, but he's shown much more already this year than what he showed last year as a junior.
We saw Matt Bushman as high as day 1 on some draft boards coming into the season, and he was the clear number 1 offensive weapon for Zach Wilson. He suffers the Achilles injury, as you pointed out. If you were giving advice to Matt Bushman about what to do, whether to come back, try and play one more year at BYU, or because you're getting older, go to the NFL, what would you tell him and why?
Ooh, you put me on the spot with this one. I would say come back for another year just to show that he is healthy. And I think he would be a huge question mark entering the NFL. And there's just not going to be a lot of teams that taking a risk like that, especially with such a monumental injury like an Achilles. It's not like a sprained ankle or, anything of that nature. This is a big time injury talking about an Achilles. And we're talking about a big time prospect, guys. I mean, he led the team in receiving yards for the past 3 seasons. And I think he's the best tight end to come out of BYU since the name that you guys are very familiar with in Dennis Pitta. I think he's very similar to him in a similar mold as well. He's very good as a blocker. He's really good as a receiving tight end as well, which I think is where most of his value lies on the next level, which we see guys like, Travis Kelce and George Kittle on the next level, just how valuable they are in the receiving mode. And that's not to say that he's on the line of prospect. He's going to end up being as good as those guys, but just talking about just his value in the passing game. And he really was the BYU offense the past 3 years. And I think just imagine him playing with a guy like Zach Wilson, his numbers probably would be astronomical right now.
I'm curious, just from the outside looking in, from draft prospects and the football program in general, how is BYU viewed by NFL scouts and by the NFL in terms of draftable players and being a draftable program?
I think it's very well. It's kind of hit or miss every single year with the BYU program, but I think this is one of those years where it is up. And whenever you have a top flight quarterback prospect, there's going to be scouts flocking to that school. And that's what we're going to see with BYU this year. And I think a lot of these prospects have really fed off the hype of Zach Wilson. I talk about Brady Christensen, who eyes were already on this year. But then you get other guys like a KHYIRIS Tonga, who has been a really good prospect as well. But I think whenever you get some top flight prospects like this, especially when you get a highly ranked quarterback prospect like a Zach Wilson, there's going to be other prospects that feed off of that hype as well. And I think that's what we're seeing with BYU.
We've talked a lot about the primary 5 players that you feel are draftable for BYU. Is there somebody off the radar that you expect to show up in the NFL that is currently wearing a BYU uniform? If so, who is that player?
I wouldn't say there's anybody off the radar or anybody like that. But there is one that really did catch my eye, and he plays along the offensive line, and it's Chandon Herring. And I was really interested in him. Brady Christensen gets a lot of the love, but I really liked what I saw from Chandon Herring. I think he's going to have a chance as a late round prospect, and he's had a really good year this year as well. So I'm really excited about his prognosis going forward.
I'm curious, just for this year, and we obviously know all of the circumstances that have gone into 2020 being a year we'll never forget. What has this year been like in terms of trying to scout and get true evaluations on teams and players, with so many players opting out and then some opting back in, some teams playing, some teams not? How has that changed how you scout this year?
It's extremely difficult, and I'm not a part of an NFL team or anything like that, but just getting some of the temperament from some scouting buddies within the industry, it's been very difficult, from just getting in games to do live scouting to even just getting inside of schools, which is something that is not allowed. And this year, those school visits are so important just because you get to talk to people like the head coach, the position coach, even, the janitors within the football facilities and how they treat everybody within the facilities. Little things like that matter just because you're drafting these guys and you're investing in them just because you want them to be a part of your culture. But if things are not going the way that you planned, or you just get a bad word from some of those guys, from some of those important people within the building, then you're obviously not going to draft those guys. But not having those opinions and not being able to go through those schools, that's something that is very challenging and very difficult, just because making an NFL team is just like putting a big puzzle piece together, or big pieces of puzzles together in a sense. And you don't want to have a bad apple in the bunch, but you're not getting as much inside information as you want. And it's like a big resume for everybody. You want as much information about that person as possible. And then there's a lot of key elements missing within that puzzle and within those elements of that player to date. So that's just some of the challenges that are going on right now, just a lack of information as a whole, and then not being able to get as much on the resume as much as humanly possible about these players that you're eventually going to invest millions of dollars within.
Jordan, it's been more than a decade since BYU had two players taken in the same NFL draft. You go back to 2009 with the likes of Dennis Pitta. We're hoping that this year we see multiple draft picks from BYU, and just maybe you're the guy that's leading the charge on that. So for BYU fans that want to read more of your stuff about these 5 potential draft picks, where can they find it?
So you can find my work at thedraftnetwork.com, and we have information about BYU prospects and every single prospect across the country. You can read little tidbits and scouting reports about every single prospect. We have write-ups about over 500 of them across the country, inside information, positives, negatives, background information. And also we have a very nice tool of where you can do a mock draft simulator, and you can simulate all 250 plus picks of whatever team that you want. You can do all 32, or you can do the one of your choice. So if you want to take the New York Jets and you want to take Zach Wilson #1 overall right now, you're welcome to do so on the Draft Network. So that's something that we do have to offer on the website.
Yeah, BYU fans are probably going to do that. So it is what it is.
Do we really want to do that to Zach Wilson, though?
Right.
Jordan, it's great to talk to you, man. Thanks for the insight. And